Part 1. The Allure of Travel After 70 and Why It Hides Serious Risks. Before we begin, if you enjoy thoughtful discussions like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our future content. Your support truly helps us keep creating meaningful videos for you. Have you ever caught yourself dreaming of a grand vacation after retirement? A trip you've always wanted to take but never had the time for? Maybe it's standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, cruising along the Mediterranean, or exploring the temples of Asia. For many people in their 70s, travel feels like a well-deserved reward after decades of work and responsibility. It promises freedom, adventure, and the chance to finally check items off that long bucket list. But here's the hard truth most seniors don't consider until it's too late. Travel after 70 is not the same as travel at 40 or 50. Our bodies and minds change with age, and while our hearts may still crave adventure, our health and stamina don't always cooperate. What looks like a fun getaway can quickly become exhausting, or even dangerous. This doesn't mean that every senior should stop traveling altogether. Far from it. But it does mean that if you're past 70, you need to understand the risks and prepare differently than you might have in your younger years. In this series, we'll uncover the hidden dangers of traveling later in life, beginning with the most important one. Your health. Why health becomes the first risk factor in your 70s. Even if you feel fit and independent, the reality is that the body doesn't bounce back the way it used to. Medical conditions that you've managed for years, high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, or heart disease, can suddenly flare up in unfamiliar environments. Something as simple as walking through a crowded airport or sitting for a long-haul flight can push the body to its limits. Imagine this scenario. You're halfway across the world, sitting in a hotel room in a foreign city, and you feel chest pain you've never experienced before. Back home, you'd call your doctor, maybe go to the hospital you trust, and get immediate care. Abroad, you're faced with language barriers, unfamiliar medical systems, and possibly hours of delay before proper treatment. That difference in timing can turn what could have been a manageable situation into a life-threatening emergency. It's not just about dramatic emergencies like heart attacks either. Respiratory problems, sudden spikes in blood pressure, and dehydration are all much more dangerous after 70. Long flights increase the risk of blood clots, also known as deep vein thrombosis, especially when movement is limited. High altitudes can put unexpected strain on the heart and lungs. Even changes in climate, from hot, humid tropics to cold mountain air, can trigger new problems. A real story that illustrates the risk. Consider Margaret, a 72-year-old retiree who had always been active and healthy. She loved the idea of taking a river cruise through Eastern Europe with her friends. The trip seemed perfect: minimal walking, comfortable accommodations, and a chance to see several countries in one journey. But on the third day, she began to feel unusually short of breath. At first, she brushed it off as fatigue from sightseeing. By the evening, she could hardly climb the stairs to her cabin. The ship's small medical unit wasn't equipped for serious emergencies, and by the time she was transferred to a hospital on shore, she was diagnosed with pneumonia. What was supposed to be a relaxing escape turned into weeks of recovery, both abroad and back at home. Her story is not unique. Many seniors discover, often painfully, that even gentle trips can carry unforeseen health challenges. The insurance problem no one talks about. Another major risk tied directly to health is the assumption that your regular insurance will cover you abroad. Unfortunately, many seniors only learn otherwise when it's too late. Medicare, for instance, often doesn't cover medical expenses outside the United States. Other health plans may have limited or no coverage overseas. This leaves many older travelers shocked when they're presented with huge bills for hospital stays, emergency surgeries, or even simple medications. Air ambulance evacuations, sometimes necessary when a patient needs advanced care not available locally, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Without comprehensive travel insurance, a single medical issue can wipe out years of retirement savings. Why even minor issues are serious after 70. You might be thinking, well, I feel fine. I'm not worried about serious conditions. But here's where many seniors underestimate the situation. Even small health problems that you brush off at home can snowball while traveling. A stomach bug that would normally take a couple of days to pass might cause dangerous dehydration. A minor fall can lead to fractures, which are much harder to recover from at this age. Jet lag or poor sleep can affect balance and increase the risk of accidents. The margin for error is smaller. And while younger travelers often bounce back with rest, older adults may need weeks to recover from something as seemingly harmless as a bad cold or an upset stomach. How to prepare if you still want to travel. Now, this isn't about scaring you away from exploring the world. It's about acknowledging the reality and taking smart steps to stay safe. If you're 70 or older and still planning to travel, here are a few important things you can do before you book your next trip. Consult your doctor first. Don't just ask if you're okay to travel. Get a thorough checkup, discuss your specific destination, and ask if there are any risks you may not have considered. Bring medications in full supply. Always carry more medication than you think you'll need in original containers with a doctor's note if possible. Running out abroad can be complicated. Research healthcare options in advance. Know where the nearest hospital or urgent care facility is located at your destination. Save the emergency numbers for that country in your phone. Invest in comprehensive travel insurance. Make sure it includes emergency evacuations, hospital stays, and coverage for pre-existing conditions. Plan for rest. Don't pack your schedule with non-stop activities. Build in downtime so your body can recover. Final thoughts for part 1. Traveling after 70 can be beautiful. It offers freedom, adventure, and lifelong memories. But it also comes with risks that shouldn't be ignored. The first and most serious of these risks is your health. When we're young, travel mishaps make for funny stories. When we're older, those same mishaps can change our lives forever. Being prepared, honest about your limitations, and willing to adjust your plans can make the difference between a joyful trip and a nightmare. In the next part of this series, we'll explore another hidden danger of senior travel that many people never consider: the invisible threats of germs, infections, and contaminated food or water. For older travelers, these risks can be just as serious as heart problems or injuries, sometimes even more so. So stay with me and let's continue uncovering the truth about traveling after 70. Part 2. The hidden threat of infections, fatigue, and environmental stress. Welcome back. In Part 1, we talked about how health becomes the first and most obvious risk when traveling after 70. Now, let's move deeper into an equally important danger that is far less visible, but often more disruptive: infections, weakened immunity, and the toll that travel environments take on older bodies. Why immunity declines with age? By the time we reach our 70s, our immune systems don't function the way they once did. Doctors call this process immunosenescence. In simple terms, it means that your body's defenses against bacteria, viruses, and other threats are weaker. When you're young, your immune system reacts quickly, fights off invaders efficiently, and recovers fast. But in older age, the body produces fewer white blood cells and antibodies. This makes it easier to catch infections and harder to recover from them. What might be a minor cold for a younger traveler could turn into pneumonia for someone in their 70s. This is why many seniors who travel find themselves unexpectedly sick within the first week of their trip. It's not that they're careless, it's that their bodies simply aren't equipped to handle constant exposure to new germs. Airplanes, a perfect place for germs. Think about your last flight. The cabin was packed, the air felt dry, and passengers were coughing or sneezing nearby. Airplanes, unfortunately, are one of the worst places for seniors with weaker immune systems. The air is recirculated, which increases the chance of spreading viruses like colds, flu, or COVID-19. The low humidity in the cabin dries out the throat and nasal passages, making it easier for germs to enter the body. Long sitting hours weaken circulation, which already makes seniors more vulnerable to illness. A study once found that people sitting within 2 rows of a sick passenger on a plane had a much higher chance of catching their illness. For a senior, that risk isn't just a few days of discomfort, it could lead to hospitalization. Food and water, a risk we often ignore. Another invisible but powerful risk is contaminated food and water. When you're younger, your stomach and gut tend to handle mild food poisoning better. A couple of uncomfortable days and you're back to normal. But at 70 or beyond, dehydration from diarrhea or vomiting can become life-threatening. Here's a real story. George, 75, was visiting India with his daughter. He was excited to try the local street food. After all, he had always been adventurous with food back home. But after eating from a vendor, he developed severe diarrhea and vomiting. Within hours, he became dangerously dehydrated. His daughter had to rush him to a hospital where he spent 4 days on 4 fluids. What could have been a fun cultural experience turned into a frightening medical emergency. The truth is, seniors can't take the same chances with food and water that younger travelers can. What seems like a small stomach bug could spiral into something far more dangerous. Fatigue, the silent enemy of senior travelers. Another factor most people overlook is fatigue. Traveling often means long walks, time zone changes, irregular sleep, and crowded environments. For someone in their 70s, fatigue is not just being tired. It directly affects balance, alertness, and even the immune system. When seniors push themselves too hard, their bodies become more vulnerable to accidents and illness. For example, a tired traveler is more likely to trip and fall. Exhaustion weakens resistance to infections. Poor sleep increases blood pressure and impacts heart health. Jet lag, in particular, can be brutal. Younger travelers might recover in 2 or 3 days. But for seniors, jet lag can linger for a week or more, throwing off medication schedules, appetite, and mental sharpness. Climate and environmental stresses. Travel often means entering environments the body is not used to, and this can be dangerous for seniors. Hot, humid climates can lead to heat exhaustion or heat stroke, especially since older adults don't regulate body temperature as well. Cold weather can worsen arthritis, raise blood pressure, and increase the risk of respiratory infections. High altitudes can strain the heart and lungs, leading to shortness of breath or dizziness. Take Helen, for example, who was 71 when she traveled to Peru to see Machu Picchu. She had dreamed of this trip for years. But the altitude of Cusco, over 11,000 feet above sea level, left her gasping for breath. She developed altitude sickness and had to cut her trip short. What she didn't realize was that her age made her far more vulnerable to altitude-related problems than the younger hikers around her. The psychological side of sickness abroad. Being sick while traveling is bad enough, but being sick in a foreign country adds a heavy psychological burden. You're far from your doctor, far from your usual medications, and often in a place where you don't speak the language. This creates stress, confusion, and sometimes even panic. Seniors traveling alone are particularly vulnerable. A simple infection or bout of fatigue can feel overwhelming without support. Some travelers even develop travel anxiety after one bad experience, fearing future trips or avoiding travel altogether. How to lower these risks if you still want to travel, and many seniors do? Here are a few smart precautions. Avoid risky foods and drinks. Stick to bottled water, well-cooked meals, and avoid raw or street foods unless you're absolutely sure they're safe. Wash hands often. It sounds simple, but frequent hand washing or carrying sanitizer is one of the most effective defenses against illness. Pace yourself. Don't overpack your schedule. Build in time for naps, rest days, and slower sightseeing. Choose your destinations wisely. Not every dream destination is senior-friendly. Avoid extreme climates, very high altitudes, or places with limited healthcare access. Bring protective items. A lightweight mask for crowded areas, travel-friendly disinfectant wipes, and electrolyte powders for hydration can make a huge difference. Closing thoughts for Part 2. Traveling after 70 can be rewarding, but it's not without risks. Your immune system is weaker, your body is more sensitive to fatigue, and environments can affect you in ways you may not expect. The risks of infection, food and water safety, and environmental stress aren't just inconveniences. They can derail an entire trip and even endanger your health, but awareness is power. By taking precautions, being realistic about your limits, and planning with safety in mind, you can reduce these risks and enjoy travel more confidently. In the next part, we'll explore another critical danger of traveling in your 70s. The physical strain on your body, including falls, sleep disruption, and the slower recovery time that comes with age. This is where many seniors face challenges they never anticipated. So stay tuned. Part 3 will shed light on the physical realities of traveling later in life, and how to manage them wisely. Part 3, the physical strain of travel after 70. In Part 1 we explored the health risks. In Part 2, we uncovered the hidden threats of infection, fatigue, and environmental stress. Now, let's talk about something that often catches older travelers completely off guard. The sheer physical strain of travel. Many seniors assume that traveling in comfort, staying at nice hotels, booking guided tours, or taking cruises will protect them from physical challenges. But the reality is, even the simplest parts of traveling can be physically demanding. Walking long distances, standing in security lines, carrying luggage, climbing stairs, or adjusting to new beds. All of these put stress on a body that no longer recovers as quickly as it used to. Why physical strain hits harder after 70? At 70 and beyond, the body naturally loses muscle mass, bone density, and balance. Doctors call this sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle with age. Even active seniors experience it. This means that tasks that once felt routine, hauling a suitcase into an overhead bin, walking a mile through an airport, or climbing a hill to a viewpoint, suddenly feel exhausting or risky. And here's the real danger. When the body is tired, the chances of injury skyrocket. A stumble that might have been a minor bruise in your 50s can become a broken hip in your 70s. And as many seniors know, a fall at this age is not just an accident, it can change the course of your life. Falls. The most common travel accident for seniors. Falls are one of the leading causes of hospitalization for older adults, and travel environments are full of fall hazards. Uneven sidewalks in historic cities. Slippery cruise ship decks, dimly lit hotel hallways. Getting in and out of buses or taxis. Take Robert, for example, a 74-year-old retired engineer who loved traveling with his wife. On a trip to Rome, he slipped on a wet cobblestone street near the Colosseum. What seemed like a minor fall turned out to be a fractured hip. He spent 2 weeks in an Italian hospital, then months recovering at home. The trip of a lifetime turned into a nightmare that permanently limited his mobility. Robert's story shows how fragile the balance really is at this age. One fall can erase years of independence. The strain of poor sleep while traveling. Another overlooked issue is sleep disruption. Travel throws off routines, and seniors are more sensitive to these changes. Jet lag can last much longer in older adults. Strange hotel beds can worsen back pain or arthritis. Noisy environments make it harder to get deep, restorative sleep. Medication schedules may be disrupted, further affecting rest. Poor sleep isn't just about feeling tired. It weakens the immune system, affects balance, and reduces mental alertness, all of which increase the chances of accidents. For seniors already struggling with insomnia or light sleep at home, travel can amplify the problem. Slow recovery. Why bouncing back is harder in youth? You can push yourself during travel, climb mountains, stay up late, walk all day, and recover with a good night's sleep. But after 70, recovery is slower. Muscles take longer to heal after strain. Joints become stiffer. Energy levels don't fully return after just one night of rest. This slow recovery makes back-to-back days of activity exhausting. What was once a joyful sightseeing marathon can feel like punishment. Many seniors push themselves too hard on the first few days of a trip, then spend the rest of it recovering in their hotel rooms. The mental impact of physical strain. Physical strain doesn't just affect the body, it also affects the mind. Seniors who find themselves struggling with stairs, long walks, or crowded spaces often feel embarrassed, frustrated, or even ashamed. Some begin comparing themselves to younger travelers around them. Others worry about becoming a burden to their spouse or travel companions. These feelings can lead to anxiety, dampen enjoyment, and sometimes even cause seniors to avoid future trips altogether. How to reduce physical strain while traveling. The good news is that seniors can take steps to protect themselves and reduce strain. Travel light, use lightweight luggage with wheels. Avoid heavy bags that require lifting. Plan around accessibility, choose hotels with elevators, tours with minimal walking, and destinations known for senior-friendly infrastructure. Take frequent breaks, don't push through long days. Sit, rest, and pace yourself. Use support gear. Walking sticks, comfortable shoes, and back braces can provide extra stability. Stay hydrated and nourished. Fatigue worsens when the body lacks water or proper nutrition. Stretch and move. Gentle stretching in the morning and evening helps keep muscles flexible and joints comfortable. Real-life example, a smart traveler. Let's contrast Robert's story with Mary, a 73-year-old widow who loved traveling but was aware of her limitations. Before her trip to Paris, she booked private transportation instead of relying on public trains. She researched museums with elevators and chose hotels with senior-friendly amenities. She used a lightweight foldable walking stick on long days. As a result, she enjoyed her trip without major strain. She admitted that she moved slower than younger tourists, but she also said, "I saw everything I wanted and I came home with energy instead of regret." Her story proves that while travel after 70 requires adjustments, it doesn't have to be impossible, but only if you plan realistically and put your health first. Closing thoughts for Part 3. Physical strain is one of the most underestimated risks of traveling after 70. Our bodies simply don't handle exertion the same way anymore. Falls, sleep disruption, and slow recovery can turn an exciting journey into a painful memory. But with preparation, pacing, and honest self-awareness, seniors can still enjoy meaningful travel experiences. The key is accepting limitations, not ignoring them. In the next part, we'll dive into one more set of risks that often get overlooked: the financial and emotional consequences of senior travel. From scams targeting older tourists, to insurance pitfalls, to the loneliness and stress that can arise on the road, these dangers are just as real as physical strain. Stay tuned because Part 4 will help you see the full picture of what traveling after 70 truly involves. Part 4. The financial and emotional consequences of traveling after 70. We've now covered the biggest physical and health-related risks of traveling in your 70s. Medical emergencies, infections, fatigue, and strain on the body. But there's another dimension that many seniors overlook until it's too late: the financial and emotional costs. Travel is expensive at any age, but after 70, the risks of losing money, or peace of mind, are far greater. And sometimes the emotional toll of a trip gone wrong lasts even longer than the financial one. The financial side. Why seniors are more vulnerable. For many seniors, retirement savings are limited. Unlike younger travelers, there's no future paycheck to refill the bank account if something goes wrong. Yet travel comes with hidden costs that can drain finances quickly. Medical emergencies abroad. As we discussed earlier, one hospital stay overseas without proper insurance can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Seniors who skip travel insurance, often to save money, put themselves at enormous risk. Trip cancellations. At this age, unexpected health issues are more common. A sudden illness or flare-up may force you to cancel, and without refundable bookings or insurance, you lose everything. Scams targeting seniors. Sadly, scammers often view older travelers as easy targets. From overpriced taxis and fake tour guides to sophisticated online booking frauds, seniors lose billions each year to travel-related scams. Overestimating ability. Some seniors book physically demanding tours or excursions, only to realize they can't complete them. The money is spent but the experience is wasted. A story of financial loss. Consider Harold and Susan, a retired couple in their 70s who had saved for years to take a cruise around the Caribbean. They decided not to buy travel insurance, thinking, "We're healthy. What could go wrong?" On the second day of the trip, Harold slipped on the deck and injured his leg. He required medical care on board and later at a local hospital. The bills, combined with the cost of cutting their trip short, totaled over $18,000. Their dream vacation ended in financial stress that haunted them long after the physical injury healed. Scams that seniors often fall for. Unfortunately, scams are a reality in popular travel destinations. Seniors are often targeted because scammers assume they're less tech-savvy or more trusting. Common tricks include overcharging for taxis by taking unnecessarily long routes, fake tour guides who disappear after taking payment, pickpockets who distract travelers at tourist hotspots, free gifts or invitations that turn into high-pressure sales tactics. Younger travelers may spot the signs of these scams faster, but seniors, especially those traveling alone, are more at risk of losing money, documents, or confidence. The emotional toll of travel mishaps. Financial loss is painful, but the emotional consequences of a bad travel experience can be even harder to recover from. Loneliness. Seniors traveling alone often underestimate how isolating it can feel to get sick, lose money, or face an emergency without support. Anxiety. A single bad incident, like falling ill abroad, can trigger lasting fear of future travel regret. Many seniors invest their savings and emotional energy into one big trip, and when it goes wrong, the disappointment runs deep. Embarrassment. Struggling physically, being scammed, or needing help can make seniors feel ashamed, even though it's not their fault. Take Eleanor, a 76-year-old widow who traveled solo to Spain. She lost her wallet in Barcelona, likely to a pickpocket, and although she got help from the local embassy, the experience left her shaken. She confessed afterward, "I thought I was independent, but I just felt so vulnerable. I don't know if I'll ever travel alone again." Her story highlights a truth many seniors discover too late. The emotional strain of mishaps lingers far longer than the inconvenience itself. Protecting yourself financially and emotionally. If you're determined to travel in your 70s or beyond, here are steps that can protect both your wallet and your peace of mind. Always buy comprehensive travel insurance. Make sure it covers medical emergencies, evacuations, and cancellations for health reasons. Book through reputable sources. Use trusted airlines, hotels, and tour operators. Avoid deals that seem too good to be true. Safeguard valuables. Use money belts, keep copies of documents, and never carry all your cash in one place. Plan realistically. Don't spend money on tours that require physical strain beyond your ability. Travel with companions whenever possible. Travel with friends, family, or group tours designed for seniors. Having support reduces both financial and emotional vulnerability. Keep expectations flexible. Not every trip will go perfectly. Accepting that delays or adjustments are part of the experience helps prevent disappointment. The bigger question, is it worth it? After all this talk about risks, you might wonder, is traveling after 70 even worth it? The answer is deeply personal for some. The joy of seeing new places, experiencing different cultures, and making memories with loved ones outweighs the risks. With careful planning and the right precautions, seniors can still travel safely and meaningfully, but for others, the dangers may outweigh the rewards. If your health is fragile, your finances limited, or your support system small, you might find greater peace in enjoying life closer to home. Travel doesn't have to mean crossing oceans. It can be exploring nearby towns, reconnecting with nature, or enjoying cultural experiences in your own community. A balanced conclusion. Travel after 70 is neither all good nor all bad. It's about honesty. Honest awareness of your health, your finances, your limits, and your needs. Too often, society sells the image of the adventurous retiree, traveling the world carefree. But reality is more complicated. Travel can be joyful, yes, but also exhausting, risky, and costly. The real wisdom comes in recognizing which journeys are worth taking, and which may be better left behind. Sometimes, the most meaningful experiences after 70 aren't found across the globe, but in the relationships we nurture, the hobbies we pursue, and the peace we cultivate at home. So if you do choose to travel, do it with eyes wide open, well prepared, and with your well-being at the center of every plan. That way your journey, wherever it takes you, will truly add to your life, not take away from it.